Hello everyone, welcome all of you to our presentation today. Today I will present our paper entitled Information Technology and Teaching Culture. We made an application in classroom. We are Miss Nguyen Thi Thu from Hanoi Law University and I'm Nguyen Minh from Ho Chi Minh University of Education. As you know, along with the increasing popularity of globalization, intercultural competence, or sometimes we call cross-cultural competence, has been apparent to show its significance in the areas of reintegration. However, sometimes we can say that our students, they often communicate with other people based on their linguistic competence, which include their grammatical structures or lexical resource, with the option of the awareness of between the equivalent among different cultures or regional backgrounds. Therefore, intercultural competence is known for the ability to relate or communicate effectively when an individual involved in the interaction with other people who do not share their common experience of language or culture. And in the current digital era, online learning and conference are more affordable thanks to the convenience of schedule arrangement and distances. Information communication technology is increasing applied in the majority of business and education. ICT contribute to the effectiveness of teaching and learning process. Is it able to encourage learning autonomy that have to reduce the amount of times when they had to spend on repairing or reviewing their lessons? Therefore, we conduct our study with the research goals to investigate the significance and the impact of IT means information technology in smart classroom of culture to teach culture and their equivalent to students, and our goals of the research to identify and analyze the impact of the IT system in the smart classroom as well as the proposed strategies to assist in teaching culture and aspect at the university. Now let's move on the theoretical frameworks which based on two primary notions of culture and intercultural communication. First is culture. Culture is actually a very hard to define concept they perceive from different viewpoints. And after investigating several theories related to culture, we can conclude that culture can be understood like the set of own typical characteristics, including thoughts and behaviors that represent the unique features of a certain community. So, what's the intercultural communication competence? Inter means between, and we can understand intercultural communication as the ability to communicate successfully with people from other cultures. And we adopt the mass education from school 2015 with 6 levels of applying technology. The first one is the adapt. Adapts represent the capacity to flexibly make use of personal interaction to get used to modern learning environment. The second one is sense, means the capacity to realize or notify the signal of the existence of high-tech learning components. And move on, the third one is infer, means the capacity to work out reasonable implication and conclusion throughout the process of conducting research. The fourth one is learned to represent the ability to acquire new knowledge to element in one's performance to accelerate efficiency and productivity. And the fifth one is anticipate, means the ability to forecast future problems and uncertain issues. Now, Wolfons, the last one, is about self-organize, means their ability to reformat or change to fix the necessary condition via artificial intelligence without external intervention. And it can be inferred that the increasing of smart levels equally associated with the requirement for learner to own certain mandatory skills to integrate the technologies with learner process of knowledge acquisition. And teaching culture in the smart classroom can encourage learning autonomy, the engagement from students, and the collaboration among them, as well as the interaction between learners include discussion. And we apply four main tools in our study. The first one is teaching project. We conduct a study during a week with a class of students in teaching culture, and we use the questionnaire as well the related journal or the interviews to consider the teacher perception toward using IT in teaching culture and to inquire how to effectively apply IT in classroom. And after the study, we find out the result for the perception of students and teachers toward teaching culture via IT system, and the majority of participants show the agreement of the importance of information technology in teaching culture. Thus, they indicated that IT plays very important roles in the success of teaching culture in the modern classroom. And we can see from the comparison of intercultural competence for enhancing effect score, and in traditional teaching approach, the most from 5, this means the average score of student, and after we use the IT assisted teaching approach, the score improves significantly to 8 as the most, and we can see it's a very considerable improvement from the score of student in the classroom of teaching culture. And we find out some functions of smart classroom in teaching culture. The first one, ICC interaction in the classroom, and we can adopt several different learning methods, and we can provide different views from the multi-dimensional views on culture, and then we can encourage the excitement from students, and we can accelerate intrinsic motivation for them to discover new things, new elements in the culture, and we can apply unlimited sources of ICC. In addition, we can accelerate student critical thinking or problem-solving skill, as well as enhance the experience. And we can use those tools and an assessment for intensive and self purposes. And we can use the authentic learning or individual group activity. And we can create online community for students to interact and discuss with each other. And we can utilize the information connection and engage the increase from software or script from the games and the tools we use IT. And after that, we conduct some pedagogical implication. And it's about ITs can be used to apply, and we can use some hardware, software, and web or network to teach culture. And then we can use social networks for assessment. We can assess the engagement, the motivation, and how students can collaborate with each other. And ICT can be used for teaching to increase the level of engagement among students. Ultimately, the ultimate purpose of communication to interact and understand each other, and then during the application we can see that they interact and collaborate more effectively and frequently with each other to discuss, to debate, to conduct all the issue related to the provided topic in the classroom. And we can conduct and notice several pedagogical strategies. The first one, we can use the collaborative learning, which means students have a chance to collaborate and work in a teams with each other to share the idea and to discuss with other people to find out the best solution for the provided issue. And then we use the experiential learning, we use experience to engage and to make them feel more authentic in their material. And we can provide social element during the interaction in the learning. Moreover, this teaching is actually based on the evidence, so they will feel that what they study, what they learn are actually very practical for their using in the daily life and the real working or communicating context. And then this is the fifth pedagogy, and we can use and we can convert everything from the traditional classroom, from conventional teaching approach. That means what we do in classroom can be done at home, and then we move on the things that were done at home will be done in schools. And we use project-based learning to engage the independence among students, as well as the inquiry-based instruction that will help them to be more confident and more independent to interact and work. And last but not least, it's about the e-learning. They can utilize, they can adopt information technology in their learning, in their studying process. However, during the study, we had to deal with a number of teaching barriers. First of all, it's about the times, and we conduct our study in only a script, and it's very hard to engage to investigate all elements of the issue. And we cannot ensure the facility to provide to all students. That's a very big limitation during our study, because the limitation will prevent them to actually engage in the classroom activity. And the cost and the expense is another problem. Furthermore, there was the lack of professional training for students as well as for some teachers to be able to successfully implement the use of smart education or the IT in teaching culture. In conclusion, smartness in smart education system are very beneficial to assess student abilities to use the ITs or the information technology in their learning process. And the survey indicated that using IT had a very satisfactory effect on intercultural communication competence of students, with a high numbers of agreement and strong agreement in terms of acquiring intercultural knowledge, development of cultural skill such as critical thinking, problem solving, boosting motivation in investigating new language, new culture as its work and tools of assessment. The finding through the journals, inquiry and questioning coincide with the conclusion of the advantages of IT to change and develop the intercultural instruction design. And after that, we can say that this is a very effective tools to raise the level of engagement and motivation in a community for students to be flexibly interact with other people or other students in their class. Actually, the ends of our presentation. Thank you for your attention.